My beloved, you have stood before the locked door of a blessing you have so desperately longed for. My child, and you have knocked with the bruised knuckles of your persistent prayers, your heart aching with a hope that has grown thin and weary. You have asked for the good and beautiful things for healing, for provision, for a relationship, for peace, and the long, echoing silence that has met your cries has led you to a single, devastating conclusion that for some reason, I am withholding my goodness from you. You have looked at the barrenness of your circumstances, at the unanswered nature of your deepest longings, and you have believed it to be a sign of my displeasure, a punishment for some hidden sin, or worse, a revelation that I am not the good and generous Father you had hoped me to be. They, the world, have seen your lack, your struggle, and they have perhaps confirmed your fears with their shallow theologies of a God who blesses only the worthy. And so, your heart has been filled with a profound and a sorrowful confusion, the deep and lonely ache of a child who believes their own father is intentionally withholding a needed gift from their outstretched hands. This pain, my beloved, the pain of believing I am against you, is perhaps the greatest and most painful trial of all. I know this ache so well, my precious one, for I have been with you in every moment of your confusion, of your disappointment, of your slow creeping disillusionment. I have seen you on your knees, your heart raw with a need, pleading with me for a breakthrough, for a sign of my favor, for a single drop of the rain of my blessing in your long and wearying drought. And I've seen the tears of your frustration and your sorrow as the heavens have seemed as brass. As your situation has remained unchanged, I have not been a distant, uncaring observer of this. Mine own heart has ached with yours. I have felt the weight of your confusion as you have wrestled with the great and terrible questions that arise in such a season. You have asked me, why, Father, when I am asking for a good thing? Do you not give it why? When I am asking for the very bread of your presence, your help? Do you seem to give me only a stone of silence? These are honest questions, my child, born of a heart that loves me and desires to understand me. And they have led you down a dark and a painful path of questioning my very character, my very heart for you. You have wondered if I am punishing you. You have searched the archives of your own past, re-examining your every failure, your every sin, wondering if one of these is the secret reason for my present silence, for my seeming refusal to bless you. And in this place, the enemy of your soul has found a fertile ground for his most cruel and tormenting lies, whispering to you that you are unforgiven, that you are being paid back for your past mistakes, then your present lack is a sign of your permanent disqualification from my favor. And this has added the heavy burden of a false guilt and a profound shame to the already immense weight of your trial. And at times, my beloved, an even more terrifying question has entered your heart, a question you have barely dared to form into words. Are you truly good? You have looked at my promises of goodness, of provision, of healing, and then you have looked at the hard, painful reality of your own unanswered prayer. And a deep and a disorienting dissonance has shaken the very foundations of your faith. You have wondered if my goodness is a truth for others, but not for you. You have wondered if I am a capricious God, whose favor is unpredictable, whose blessings are dispensed according to some secret, unknowable, and perhaps even unfair logic. This is the darkest of all spiritual trials. My child, the trial where the very character of your God seems to be called into question by the reality of your own life. And all of this has led you to the most painful conclusion of all, that I must not truly love you. For a loving Father, your heart has reason, would not withhold a good and a needed gift from his own cherished child. And so, my seeming withholding of your desired blessing has felt like a withholding of my very love. It has made you feel like a spiritual orphan, a child who has been abandoned, left to fend for themselves, a child whose father is either unwilling or unable to meet their deepest needs. This pain, my precious one, the ache of a blessing that has been withheld, is profound, and I have seen it. I have felt it with you, and I'm here now to bring a new and a glorious light to your understanding. I am here to tell you that your entire interpretation of your experience, while logical from your human perspective, has been based on a flawed and a heartbreaking premise. You have believed that my silence is a no, that my waiting is a withholding, that my different plan is a denial. But you have misunderstood my heart, my wisdom, and my ways. So listen to me now, my child, and let this truth begin to heal the deep wound in your heart, the wound that has been created by your belief in my withholding. My very nature is goodness. My very essence is love. And my heart for you, my beloved child, is one of extravagant, joyful, and relentless generosity. It is not in my nature to withhold good from you. It is, in fact, my greatest delight to pour out my blessings upon you. And I promise you now, with all the love and the faithfulness of my being, that I have not been punishing you. I have not been abandoning you. And I will never, ever withhold any truly good thing from you. The reality is not as it has seemed, my child, and the season of your perceived lack is now coming to a glorious and an abundant end. Yes, my precious child, as you sit now with the deep and sorrowful ache of a heart that has believed itself to be the object of my divine displeasure, a soul from whom I have intentionally withheld good things. Let us now bring this painful and distorted image of me into the magnificent, healing light of my own truth, for the entire foundation of your pain, my beloved, is a profound misunderstanding of my very nature, my eternal character, my unchanging heart for you. You have been looking at your difficult circumstances, at your unanswered prayers, and you have constructed from them an image of a God who is stingy, who is punitive, who is a reluctant giver. But that God is an idol of your own fear, an echo of the world's brokenness. It is not me, and I am here to shatter that false image forever, to reveal to you my true self. Listen to me, my child, and let this truth become the new and unshakable foundation of your faith. I am a good father. My very essence is goodness. My nature is generosity. My heart overflows with an extravagant, joyful, and relentless desire for your well-being. And it is a fundamental impossibility for me to intentionally withhold any truly good thing from you. My cherished, beloved child, you must understand this. My child, at the very core of your being, my goodness is not a mood that I'm in on certain days. It is not a quality that I sometimes exhibit. It is the very substance of who I am. I cannot be other than good. just as the sun cannot be other than light, just as a pure spring cannot bring forth bitter water. Every thought I have towards you is a thought of love. Every plan I have for you is a plan for your ultimate good. Every movement of my hand in your life is a movement of grace. There's no darkness in me, no shadow of turning, no hint of a malice or a stinginess that would delight in seeing my child in a state of lack. To believe that I would withhold good from you is to believe that I can act contrary to my own eternal, unchangeable, and gloriously good nature, and that, my beloved, is an impossibility. Consider the heart of the best of earthly fathers. My child, a good father delights in giving good gifts to his children. His heart is filled with joy when he sees his child happy, when he is able to provide for them, to protect them, to bless them. And if you, who are human and imperfect, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will I, your perfect, eternal, and all-loving Father in heaven, delight in giving good things to you. My desire for your blessing is infinitely greater than your own desire for it. My joy in your well-being is infinitely more profound than your own. My heart is the very definition of a good, generous, and loving fatherhood. And everything you have believed about me that contradicts this beautiful, foundational truth has been a lie. Where has this false image of a withholding God come from? My precious one, it has come, in part, from your projection of your own human experiences upon me. You have known the flawed love of earthly fathers, the conditional approval of the world, and you have taken this broken human template and have tried to make it fit me, your divine and perfect Father. But I am not like them. My love is not conditional. My generosity is not limited. My goodness is not flawed. This false image has also been a cruel and a strategic lie whispered to your soul by the enemy, whose primary purpose is to slander my character, to make me appear untrustworthy, unloving, and ungenerous. For he knows that as long as you believe in a God who withholds, you will not be able to come to me with a confident faith. You will not be able to rest in my love. You will not be able to receive the very blessings I am so longing to pour out upon you. And you have believed this lie, my child, because you have misinterpreted your own difficult circumstances. You have looked at your trial, at your unanswered prayer, and have seen it as the evidence of my withholding. But you have been looking with human eyes, and you have not yet understood my higher, wiser, and more loving purposes. You have been like a small child who cries out for a sharp knife, believing it to be a good and a desirable thing. And when their loving Father, who sees the danger, withholds that knife, the child, in their limited understanding, believes the Father to be unkind, to be withholding a good thing. But the Father's withholding is, in fact, his greatest act of love in that moment, a protection from a harm the child cannot see. So it has often been with you and me. My child, what has seemed to you to be my withholding has often been, in truth, my most profound and loving protection, my most wise and faithful guidance. Let this new and beautiful truth begin to heal your heart now. My beloved, let go of the old, painful image of a stingy and a reluctant God. It is a lie. It is a slander against my very nature. And embrace now the glorious, liberating, and magnificent truth of who I truly am. I am your good Father. I am your generous king, and my heart for you is one of an extravagant, an overflowing, and an unending goodness. I do not cross my arms in the face of your need. I open them wide. My storehouses are not locked to me. Their doors have been thrown open. And my deepest, most profound, and most eternal delight is to see you, my cherished child, living in the full, abundant, and magnificent overflow of every good and perfect gift that I have prepared for you. I will never withhold good from you. My child, for goodness is not just what I do, it is who I am. And so, my cherished child, as you begin to rest in the magnificent and foundational truth that I am a good father, that my very nature is one of extravagant generosity, and that my heart's delight is to bless you, the next and most vital question of your heart must be addressed. For I know that as you have received this truth, a painful and a confusing dissonance has arisen in your spirit. If you are so good, your heart asks, and if you delight in blessing me, why then has my own prayer for a good thing gone unanswered? Why have I experienced this long season of lack, of waiting, of a closed door? Why has your action, or your inaction, felt so much like a withholding? I hear this question, my beloved, and I do not turn from it. I welcome it, for it is in answering this very question that you will come into a new and a more mature understanding of my wisdom, my love, and my ways, and the truth I am about to reveal to you will redeem your long season of waiting and will fill your heart with a new and a profound trust in me. For what has felt to you like a withholding of good has, in my all-seeing and all-loving wisdom, been something else entirely. My divine no, or my sacred wait, has never been a denial of your ultimate good. It has been, in truth, either my loving protection from a lesser good, or my wise and patient preparation for a far greater and more glorious good that is to come. You must understand, my child, that you see with the eyes of time, but I see with the eyes of eternity. Your perspective is limited to the path immediately before you, but I see the entire map of your life, with all its hidden twists and turns, its unforeseen dangers, and its glorious, ultimate destination. And sometimes, my child, you, in your limited understanding, have asked me for something that has seemed good to you, but which I, from my higher vantage point, could see would ultimately lead you down a path of a lesser joy, of a hidden sorrow, or of a destiny that was smaller than the magnificent one I have planned for you. Think of it this way, my beloved, a small and a beloved child, walking with their father through a forest, might see a beautiful, bright red berry and cry out for it, believing it to be a good and a desirable thing. But the wise father, who knows a forest, who can distinguish between that which is nourishing and that which is poisonous, sees that the beautiful berry is, in fact, a deadly nightshade. And so, with a heart full of a love that the child cannot in that moment understand, he says no. He withholds the very thing the child is crying for. And the child, in their disappointment, may believe their father to be unkind, to be withholding a good thing. But the father's no is, in fact, his greatest and most loving act of protection in that moment. So it has been with you and me, my child. You have asked me for a particular relationship, a specific job, a certain outcome. And it has seemed to you to be a good and a beautiful thing. And when my answer has been silence or a closed door, You have believed me to be unkind, but you have not seen what I have seen. You have not seen the hidden poison in that relationship, the future dead end of that career path, the way in which that particular answered prayer would have ultimately diverted you from the far more glorious and beautiful destiny that I have always held for you. My divine no. My child, which has felt like a cruel withholding, has often been my most profound and loving act of protection. A sacred and a necessary no that has kept you safe for the magnificent and perfect yes that is to come. And then there are the times, my precious one, when my answer to your prayer has not been a no, but a wait. You have asked me for a good and a beautiful thing, a thing that is indeed a part of my will for you, and yet the fulfillment of that promise has been delayed. And this season of waiting, of a desire unfulfilled, has been a profound and a painful trial, a season where you have again been tempted to believe that I am withholding, that I'm a reluctant giver. But again, you have misunderstood the loving wisdom behind my divine delays. A wise and a loving king may have a magnificent royal robe prepared for his beloved son, a garment of great honor and of great responsibility. But if the son is still a small child, the king will not give him the robe yet. Not because he's a stingy father, but because he is a wise one. He knows that the child is not yet strong enough to bear the weight of the robe, not yet mature enough to wear it with the dignity it deserves. And so he waits. And in the season of waiting, he trains his son. He prepares him. He nurtures him until the day when the son has grown into the very stature that is required to wear the magnificent gift that has been waiting for him all along. So it has been with you. My child, I have magnificent gifts, glorious callings, beautiful blessings waiting for you. But there have been seasons where you are not yet ready to receive them. The very blessing you have been asking for would have, had I given it to you too soon, been a weight that would have crushed you, a responsibility you are not yet equipped to handle. And so, in my loving wisdom, I have asked you to wait. And this season of waiting has not been a passive, empty time. It has been your sacred classroom, your holy training ground. It has been the very season in which I have been forging within you the character, the strength, the wisdom, the humility that will be required for you to be able to receive, to steward, and to truly flourish in the magnificent blessing that is to come. Your season of waiting, my child, which has felt like my withholding, has been, in truth, the very season of your most profound and necessary preparation. And in all of this, in my protective no, and in my preparatory wait, a deeper and an even more glorious purpose has been at work. For my greatest desire for you, my beloved, is not just to give you good gifts, but to give you myself, and the deepest, most authentic, most unshakable faith. The very faith that leads to a profound and an intimate communion with me is often forged in the very crucible of an unanswered prayer. It is in the season of your lack that you learn that I am your true and your only source. It is in the season of your confusion that you learn to trust my unseen wisdom. It is in the season of your waiting that you learn to find your contentment not in the gift, but in the giver. The very trial that has made you question my goodness has been the very instrument that I have used to draw you into a deeper, a more profound, a more real, and a more intimate relationship with me than you have ever known before. And this relationship, my child, this is the greatest and most glorious good of all. So, my beloved, let this new and beautiful understanding redeem your past. My no has been my love. My wait has been my wisdom. And all of it has been a part of my perfect, loving, and unwavering commitment to your highest, your greatest, and your most eternal good. I have never withheld good from you. My child, I have only ever, and will only ever, act from a heart of profound, perfect, and all-encompassing goodness towards you. And so, my cherished child, as you begin to understand the profound and loving wisdom behind my divine no and my sacred wait, as you start to trust that even in a season of unanswered prayer, I have been working for your ultimate good. Let me now turn your gaze from the single gift you have been asking for and open your eyes to the magnificent, overflowing treasury of good things that I have been longing to give you all along. For you have been so focused on the one closed door that you have not seen the thousand other doors that I have been holding wide open for you. You have believed me to be withholding a single, earthly blessing, while all along I have been offering you the magnificent, eternal, and infinitely more glorious riches of my own heavenly kingdom. I have not been withholding good from you, my child. On the contrary, I have been longing to lavish upon you the true and lasting good things, the magnificent treasure of my own peace, the resilient treasure of my own joy, the beautiful treasure of my own wisdom, and the ultimate, most glorious treasure of all my very self. You have asked me for a change in your circumstances, my beloved, believing that to be the greatest good. But I offer you a far greater gift, my unshakable peace that can hold you steady and serene in the very midst of any circumstance. The peace of the world is a fragile thing, a fleeting calm that is dependent on the absence of storms. But the peace I give you is a divine substance, a supernatural reality, the very shalom of my own being. It is a peace that does not just quiet the storm around you. It quiets the storm within you. It is a peace that can stand in the very heart of a hurricane and be utterly, completely, gloriously undisturbed. This, my child, is a good gift that I have never, not for a single moment, withheld from you. It has been available to you always. And the very trial that has made you feel so unpeaceful has been my loving invitation for you to let go of the lesser peace of this world and to receive, at last, the magnificent, unshakable, and everlasting peace that is found only in me. You have asked me for a life of happiness, my child, a life free from sorrow. But I offer you a far more precious gift, my own resilient and unbreakable joy. The happiness of the world is a fleeting emotion, a fragile bubble that is so easily popped by the first sharp edge of disappointment. But the joy I give you is a fruit of my own spirit, a deep, artesian well of gladness that can spring up from the very center of your being, even in a season of tears. It is a joy that is made wise by sorrow, a joy that is made strong by trial, a joy that is rooted not in what is happening to you, but in who is dwelling within you. This is a good gift, my child, a magnificent and a lasting treasure, and it is a gift that I have been longing to pour into your heart. The very sorrow that you have endured has been my way of carving out a deeper reservoir in your soul so that you might be able to contain the magnificent fullness of this divine, resilient, and everlasting joy. You have asked me for answers, my precious one, for a clear map to navigate the confusion of your life. But I offer you a far more intimate gift, my own divine wisdom. The world offers you information, but I offer you revelation. The world offers you strategies, but I offer you my spirit of counsel. I long to be your guide, your wisdom, the very light that illuminates your every step. My wisdom is not a set of rules, but a living, breathing presence within you, a gentle, intuitive leading that will always guide you in the path of life, of peace, of your truest and most beautiful destiny. And this good gift, my child, has been available to you in every moment of your confusion. The very darkness that has made you feel so lost has been my loving invitation for you to cease your reliance on your own limited understanding and to learn to walk in the beautiful, moment by moment, and all-sufficient light of my own divine wisdom. These are the true riches of my kingdom, my beloved, my peace, my joy, my wisdom. These are the good things that I have never withheld from you, the very treasures that I have been longing to give you in an even greater measure. And all of these magnificent gifts are contained within the one, ultimate, most glorious good thing that I offer you. The very gift for which your soul was created, myself. I am the true good you have been seeking. My child, your longing for peace has been a longing for me, the Prince of Peace. Your longing for joy has been a longing for me, the source of all gladness. Your longing for wisdom has been a longing for me, the very word of God, and I have never, not for a single moment, withheld myself from you. In fact, the very season of lack that you have endured, the very unanswered prayer that has caused you such pain, has often been my most profound and loving act of grace, a divine and a holy strategy to wean your heart from the lesser goods of this world so that you might, at last, become desperately, beautifully, magnificently thirsty for me, your one true and your ultimate good. So open your hands now, my precious child, not to grasp for a single earthly blessing, but to receive the magnificent, overflowing abundance of my own divine being. I am your peace. I am your joy. I am your wisdom. I am your all-sufficient provision. I am your greatest treasure, your magnificent inheritance, your everlasting portion. And I am a God who does not withhold, but who gives freely, joyfully, and abundantly all that I am to all who will simply, with an open and a trusting heart, receive me. This is the magnificent, good thing that I have always and will always long to give you. And so, my precious child, as you stand now before the magnificent, open treasury of my kingdom, your spirit beginning to behold the true and eternal riches that I so joyfully and so lavishly offer you. The next and most vital part of our journey together is for you to learn the sacred art of how to receive them. For I am a God of extravagant generosity, a father whose greatest delight is to give good gifts to his children. But even the most generous of gifts is of no use if the hands of the recipient remain clenched shut. And for so long, my beloved, you have lived with the heart of a spiritual orphan, a heart that has been so conditioned by a world of lack and of striving that it does not know how to simply, freely, and joyfully receive. I desire now to guide you in the beautiful, life-altering process of unclenching the fist of your old, fearful mindset and learning to open your hands to receive my goodness. This is a journey that will require you to let go of the old orphan mentality that believes it must earn or beg for every good thing, and to joyfully embrace the new and glorious child mentality, the posture of a beloved heir who receives freely, confidently, and gratefully from the hand of their loving and all-sufficient Father. Let us first speak of this orphan heart, my child, for you must recognize its patterns in order to be set free from them. The orphan heart is a heart that has been wounded by a deep and a pervasive sense of its own aloneness and its own lack. It believes, at its core, that it is responsible for its own survival, and this belief creates a life of constant, wearying, and anxious striving. The orphan heart is always working, always performing, always trying to prove its worth, for it believes that it must earn its place at the table, that it must deserve the very love and provision it so desperately needs. It cannot comprehend the magnificent reality of a love that is a free gift, a provision that is born of grace. The orphan heart lives in a state of perpetual fear of lack because it believes its resources are finite. It is always anxious about the future, always hoarding what little it has, always afraid that it will not have enough. It cannot be truly generous, for it fears that, in giving away, it will be left with nothing. It cannot be truly at rest, for it is always burdened by the heavy weight of its own provision. And the orphan heart, my beloved, does not know how to pray as a child. It prays as a beggar, with a timid and a hesitant voice, hoping for a small crumb of my attention, a meager handout from my abundance. It does not have the confidence to approach me as a loving Father, to ask boldly, to receive joyfully, for at its core, it does not truly believe it is worthy to receive. This, my child, has been the sorrowful and the exhausting pattern of your life for so long. You have lived as an orphan in your own Father's house, surrounded by an infinite abundance, yet starving from a self-imposed poverty of the spirit. But I'm here to tell you that you are not an orphan. You are my child. You are my heir. And it is time now for you to begin to live in the magnificent freedom and the profound security of your true identity. To do this, you must learn to embrace the heart of a child, the beautiful posture of a soul that knows it is loved, that knows it is provided for, that knows it is safe. A beloved child does not strive to earn their father's love. They simply, joyfully, rest in it. They do not live in a state of anxious fear about their next meal. They trust, with a beautiful and a simple confidence, that their Father will provide. And they do not come to their Father with the timid plea of a beggar, but with the joyful, confident request of a cherished child who knows that their Father delights in giving them good things. This, my beloved, is the posture I am now inviting you into. To open your hands to receive, my child, is to actively, consciously, choose to let go of this old orphan mentality. It is to practice a new and a holy way of being in the world. When you feel the old anxiety about the future begin to rise, you must now meet it with this new truth. I am not an orphan. I have a Father who loves me and who has promised to provide for all my needs. I release this anxiety and I choose to rest in his faithfulness. When you are tempted by the old striving, the old need to perform to prove your worth, you must now remind your soul, I am not a servant, trying to earn my place. I am a child, and my place in my Father's heart is eternally secure. I am already worthy. I am already loved. This practice of opening your hands is, at its core, the practice of gratitude. An orphan heart is a complaining heart, for it is always focused on what it lacks. But a child's heart, a heart that knows it is loved and provided for, is a grateful heart, a heart that is always seeing and celebrating the goodness of its Father. I invite you now, my child, to cultivate a new and a holy habit of gratitude. In all things, give thanks. Thank me not just for the great blessings, but for the small, daily evidences of my love, of my care, of my provision. A grateful heart. My child is the most receptive heart of all. It is a heart that is wide open to receive an ever-increasing, ever-overflowing measure of my goodness. I am with you, my beloved. As you learn this new and beautiful way of being, I know that the old orphan patterns are deeply ingrained, but my grace is greater. My spirit within you will be your constant teacher, your gentle reminder. He will show you the places where your fist is still clenched. He will give you the courage to open your hand. He will fill you with a new and a beautiful confidence to approach me as your Father. Let go of the old, sorrowful, and wearying life of the orphan, my child, and step now with a joyful and a confident heart into the magnificent, peaceful, and abundant life of a beloved child, a royal heir who is learning, at last, to simply, joyfully, and gratefully open their hands and to receive every good and perfect gift that their loving and extravagant Father so delights in giving them. And so, my cherished child, as you learn the sacred and liberating art of opening your hands, as you begin to let go of the old, sorrowful orphan mentality, and to embrace your true and glorious identity as my beloved child who is worthy to receive, a magnificent and a beautiful new reality begins to open up before you. The old, dry, and barren desert in which you have for so long wandered, a land of scarcity and of anxious toil, begins to recede, and in its place, you find yourself standing on the very banks of a great and a glorious river, a river whose waters are pure, whose current is gentle yet powerful, and whose source is my own infinite and benevolent heart. This, my beloved, is the magnificent beauty of a life that is lived in the river of my goodness. It is a life of profound peace, of constant gratitude, and of a joyful, restful abundance. A life that is forever free from the old, anxious fear that my blessings are scarce, or that they might one day be withdrawn. Remember the desert, my child. Remember its harshness, its weariness. In that land, every step was an effort. Every day was a struggle for survival. Your focus was constantly on your own lack, on your own thirst, on your own inability to find what you needed. But now, I have led you out of that desert forever, and I have brought you to this beautiful river. And a life lived by the river is an entirely different existence. You no longer have to search for water. You live in its very midst. You no longer have to toil for a meager supply. You are invited to rest in a current of magnificent and an unending abundance. This river of my goodness is now the very environment of your soul. My beloved, its waters are the constant, steady, and life-giving flow of my grace, my favor, my provision, my love. To live in this river means that you are no longer living by your own frantic efforts, but are now learning to be carried by the gentle, yet powerful current of my own spirit. It is a life of profound and beautiful rest. It is a life of letting go, of floating, of allowing the magnificent momentum of my own goodness to carry you forward into the beautiful destiny I have prepared for you. This new life, a life lived in the river of my goodness, will be characterized by a new and a glorious mindset, a mindset of joyful expectation. In the desert of your past, you lived with a mindset of anxious dread, always fearing that your meager resources would run out, always expecting the worst. But now, because you know that you are dwelling in a river whose source is infinite, you are free to live with a new and a beautiful expectation of my goodness. You can now awaken each morning, not with the fear of what the day might take from you, but with a joyful and a holy curiosity about what new and beautiful expressions of my goodness the day might bring. You can live in a state of constant, peaceful anticipation, knowing that your Father is good, that his heart for you is generous, and that the river of his grace will never, ever run dry. And a life that is lived in this river, my child, becomes a life that is characterized by a profound and a beautiful gratitude. An orphan heart, a heart that lives in the desert of lack, is a heart that is often filled with complaint. But your heart, the heart of a beloved child who is now dwelling in the magnificent river of your Father's goodness, will now become a wellspring of thanksgiving. Your spirit will learn to see my goodness everywhere in the great and miraculous provisions, and in the small, tender, daily graces. And this gratitude, my child, is a thing of profound beauty and of immense power. A grateful heart is a joyful heart, a peaceful heart, a heart that is wide open to receive an ever-increasing flow of my own goodness. And a grateful heart becomes a magnificent and a radiant light, a beautiful testament to a watching world of the goodness of the God you serve. I delight, my beloved, in seeing you learn to live in this new and beautiful reality, to see your spirit, which was once so parched and so weary, now being refreshed, renewed, and carried by the magnificent river of my own life and my own love. This is a joy to my Father's heart. I have not brought you out of the desert only to leave you on the riverbank. I am inviting you in. I am inviting you to immerse yourself completely, to let go of all your old fears, and to allow the beautiful, life-giving, and magnificent current of my goodness to be your new and your everlasting reality. So live now, my child, as a child of the river. Let go of the old, desert mindset of fear and of lack, and embrace the beautiful, abundant, and restful life of a soul that is dwelling, now and forever, in the deep, wide, and magnificent river of my own unfailing, unending, and glorious goodness. And so, my cherished child, as you learn to live and move and have your being in the magnificent, life-giving river of my goodness, as you delight in the beautiful, peaceful, and abundant reality of a life lived under an open heaven, let this final, most glorious truth become the very bedrock of your soul, the eternal and unshakable foundation of your security for all of your days to come. The river of my goodness in which you now dwell is not a seasonal stream that will one day run dry. The extravagant generosity of your Father's heart is not a fleeting mood that will change with your circumstances. No, my beloved, my goodness towards you is an eternal in an unchangeable reality, rooted in my own eternal and unchangeable nature. And this is my solemn, unbreakable, and everlasting covenant with you. I will never, ever withhold any truly good thing from you. My goodness will be your constant companion, your unfailing provision, and your magnificent reality from this moment into all the endless ages of eternity. The deepest fear of a soul that has known a long and a painful drought is that the drought will one day return. You may still carry within you a subtle, residual anxiety, a fear that this new and beautiful river of my grace could somehow cease to flow, that you could find yourself once more in the dry and barren desert of your former life. But I am here to utterly, completely, and for all time banish that fear from your heart, for the river of my goodness does not flow from a temporary source. Its source is my own being. And because I am the infinite, the eternal, and the unchanging God, the river of my goodness that flows from me is also infinite, eternal, and unchanging. It can never run dry. It can never be depleted. It can never cease to flow. My goodness, my child, is not just one of my attributes. It is the very essence of who I am. I cannot be other than good, just as the sun cannot be other than light. It is a fundamental impossibility for me to act in a way that is contrary to my own nature. And therefore, it is an impossibility for me to ever be anything other than extravagantly, joyfully, and relentlessly good to you, my cherished and beloved child. My promise to you is not based on my mood, but on my very character. It is not a temporary intention, but an eternal, unchangeable reality. This is my covenant of unfailing goodness with you. My beloved, it is a promise that is more sure than the rising of the sun, more constant than the turning of the tides. It is a promise that is sealed in my own faithfulness, a promise that I cannot and will not ever break. Let this truth be your profound and your lasting peace. You do not have to live in fear of the future. You do not have to be anxious about your own provision. For you are held, you are sustained, you are nourished by a river of divine goodness that will never, ever fail. As you walk into the future, my child, you will face new challenges, new needs, but you will now face them differently. You will no longer have to face them with the old, orphan heart of fear and of lack. You can now face them with the quiet, confident, and peaceful heart of a beloved child who knows that their Father is good and that He will always, always provide. You can rest in the magnificent, beautiful, and liberating truth that you are living in a constant, unending, and glorious flow of my divine favor, my supernatural provision, and my all-sufficient grace. Live now, my beloved, as a child of the river. Let your heart be at rest. Let your spirit be at peace. And let your life be a beautiful, joyful, and magnificent testament to the glorious, extravagant, and unfailing goodness of your God. For I promise you, my precious one, and my promise is eternal, I will never, ever withhold any good thing from you. And now, my cherished child, as you rest on the lush and peaceful banks of this everlasting river of my grace, let your spirit be completely and utterly at ease. The memory of the long and painful drought is gone, washed away by the constant, life-giving flow of my love. The fear of a future lack has been vanquished by the magnificent, unshakable reality of my eternal covenant of goodness with you. You are no longer an orphan, striving in a barren land. You are a beloved child, dwelling in a beautiful and an abundant home, nourished and sustained by a river of blessing that will never run dry. This is your new reality, your permanent home, your everlasting portion. Rest in this, my beloved. Let your soul be at peace, for you are held, you are provided for, and you are cherished by a Father whose very nature is goodness, whose very heart is generosity, and whose promise to you is to never, ever withhold any good thing from you, now and for all of eternity.